Become a member in the description box below. You know, a lot of people are talking about Steve Bannon, and rightly so. He was a powerhouse in the White House, his tentacles stretching far across. He was the man who came into the Trump administration before it was the Trump administration and helped propel Trump and crystallize his message into a victory. He was later rewarded with becoming a strategist for Donald Trump. In many regards, he had the ear of the president on all matters. But there are a few things about Steve Bannon's leaving that must be corrected. First of all, Steve Bannon and Donald Trump, they were kindred spirits on policies. That's right. Bannon didn't change to suit Trump, and Trump wasn't changing to suit anyone. And part of the reason that Steve Bannon is no longer in the White House is that there were people printing since day one that Steve Bannon was controlling the White House. And Donald Trump wants the world to know that any accolades that should be given to him. How can I say it? This is no saying, right? Never outshine the master. And in an interview that Steve Bannon recently did, which was part of the stick that broke the camel's back, it seemed like Bannon was taking a lot more credit for Trump winning the election than even Trump should get. You remember Scaramucci, Mr. Mooch. He talked about it. He said that Steve Bannon wanted to himself instead of help Trump. The people that were against Steve Bannon, who did not agree with his politics, the people like Jared Kushner, the John Kellys, the H.R. McMasters, the Ivanka Trumps, they had the ear of President Trump as well. They were influential in the departure of Steve Bannon, not Charlottesville. In fact, Steve Bannon says pre-Charlottesville, he had already tendered his resignation. He'd seen the writing on the wall. This was August 7th. No relation at all to Charlottesville. Steve Bannon made a comment that we were not going to be dealing with North Korea. It was more than that, though. He said something to the extent of, well, North Korea's got us on lock. We can't use weapons against them, at least not nuclear weapons. So it's kind of a match set. Donald Trump didn't like that either. In fact, I've been reading that Donald Trump doesn't like Steve Bannon all that much. They just happen to agree on policies. So why are people jumping up and down about Donald Trump and Steve Bannon's exit? Why are they so overjoyed? Why are they so pumped up? Why is it seen as such a positive? Because they believe that Steve Bannon may be the only person in the White House who holds views about immigrants that they don't like? Do they actually believe that Steve Bannon was the only person in the White House to think it was okay for voting rights to be amended? Who think it's okay for LGBTQ to have lesser rights, to build a wall, for instance? Do they really believe that's the deal? If Steve Bannon, who took over at Breitbart News, became the CEO of Breitbart News, is leading Breitbart News, is now going back to Breitbart News with a chip on his shoulder with the administration, and he says he will wage war against the enemies of Donald Trump. What does that mean? It means that Steve Bannon isn't going away. He's just changing jobs. That he's back to doing what he loves to do, what he does best, which is influence via media. If there's any clapping to be done, I think it should focus on the fact that if Bannon wages this war against the Republicans and the establishment because he is a populist, a national populist, well, that may cause a disarray, a dysfunction within the GOP, which will fracture them somewhat in the 2018 elections. Now, that is where the Democrats can benefit. But you do not benefit from Bannon leaving the White House. Trump does not benefit from Bannon leaving the White House, but he could be hurt by it. Bannon has an agenda, and that agenda is what matters. In fact, they say that Bannon had written on his wall, on a plaque, on a board, all of Donald Trump's campaign promises. Steve Bannon was the only person in the White House who was adhering strictly to what Trump ran on. It's not a popularity contest. It's not about them being buddies. It was about that agenda. And that is also Trump's agenda. It's possible that very soon Donald Trump will see those who were against his agenda are right there in that White House, and that Steve Bannon was good for that agenda. Now, is that agenda good for us? I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying this is what I see from the information I've digested from multiple sources. Now, what I know is, based on everything, there is no reason to celebrate the ousting of Steve Bannon. It hasn't made you safer. It hasn't made the country more peaceful. Maybe it's a mirage. Maybe if that's what you want to believe. So therefore you are more peaceful because you believe in this fantasy. But the fantasy is still a fantasy. Also, it's very important for you to know that Bob Mercer, billionaire, funder of Breitbart News, will probably increase funding to Breitbart, to Bannon, to challenge the Republican establishment, to go after the enemies of the new agenda that Bannon, Mercer, and Trump believe in. There you go. So Bannon's not going to go quietly. Neither will these ideas. Just because you get rid of the man does not mean you get rid of the ideas. And that's what Bannon and Trump had in common, and they still do. All right, that's it. I'm Tim Black for TBTV. Become a member of my Wolf Pack by donating monthly to this program. We don't go left, we don't go right, we just go truthful. We do our best to do that every time out. I'll see you on the next one.